all of that in there. I didn't drink all of that this morning on the way to work. Gosh, I love a black tea. I don't know what it is about me and black tea. Love it. So, welcome to Spilling the Tea. I'm Dora. And just like Dora is my nickname, because Mutiara is my real name, I have another nickname. And I mentioned it in my Laos Spilling the Tea, which was 2 videos back in the series. There is a playlist. If you're interested, there is a playlist. They're only like 20-minute, 30-minute videos. Yesterday I did a Spilling the Tea with my mum. So my mum did the Spilling the Tea. It's quite a nice story, actually. A very romantic story about my dad and my mum. It's quite nice, actually. I've never heard that story before. But anyway, this one today is from France. Spilling the Tea, who is Sophie? So let me put you in here, because I'm driving home. I've just dropped my client off, and off early too, which is great. That means I've got the afternoon off, which is lovely. So join me for a cup of tea while I spill the tea on who is Sophie. So who is Sophie? Well, it's a nickname, right? It's my nickname. It's one of my nicknames. So I have a few different nicknames, guys. So this is before Dora. So this is before I called myself Dora. Now Dora is probably about 18 years running. Crazy, eh? 18 years running. So I got nicknamed Dora from playing Celebrity Heads when I was in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And because Mutiara is not easy to say, guys, just not easy to say. So anyway, Dora's easy, right? That's why I've used Dora. And plus also Explorer Dora. I've always got a backpack. That's why they nicknamed me Explorer Dora. I'll tell that. That's another story to tell one day. How it all came about. Some people have heard it before. So anyway, Sophie is my original nickname. Why I use it is because when you're traveling, it's really hard to make connections with people when they can't remember your name. I'm going to be honest, it's really difficult. So when I first started traveling, I was about 24. Well, the first solo travel trip, I was 24, and I was in Europe, and I was in France, and there were lots of people in the backpacker hostel from different places. There was a couple of people from the UK, a couple of people from America, a couple of people a guy from Sweden, a guy from Australia. Anyway, they all would say, what's your name? And I would say Mutiara. So Mutiara is my real name, my given name. Now spelled Mutiara. My mother and father gave me that as their first child born. They thought they'd give their first daughter a really unusual name. And it means pearl in Indonesian. So I could call myself Pearl, because that would be kind of easier, right? But I don't know, I just don't feel like a Pearl, right? Grandma Pearl, I don't know, I just don't feel it. Pearl's a really old name. I mean, I'm not old yet, but maybe I'll call myself Pearl one day. So I had to come up with another name. But it was easy to come up with because Sophie is a name that has already been kind of a nickname of mine since I was quite a young child. Why? Well, not only did I need a travel name, because it was easy to say a travel name, right? Then Mutiara. But when I was a young kid, it was hard at kindergarten and preschool and primary school for people also to remember and say Mutiara. So I actually don't know how the name came about. I don't know who named me Sophie, but all my family in Indonesia all call me Sophie. They don't call me Mutiara. They all know my name's Mutiara. It's even an Indonesian name. They should call me that, right? But they all recognize me as Sophie because as a small child, I was called Sophie. Not birth name, but I would call myself Sophie. So as I said, I actually will have to ask my mum how it came about. but all my family in Indonesia, even as now as an adult, they still call me Sophie. So when I left Kilcoy, we lived in the country originally, and I did grade 1 and grade 2 in the country. And even though my name was Mutiara on, my, I guess my enrollment, all the kids used to call me Sophie. So when I've caught up with people from my primary school days, they call me Sophie. And when I moved to suburbia, which is Redcliffe, where I live now, I took on my original name, Mutiara. So that is really how the name came about. Because also it was probably hard for me to say as a young person to say Mutiara. But interestingly enough, I've actually had quite a few of my friends' kids able to say my name, even as young kids. They somehow they just know it. I don't know how they do it. And some kids have no clue. So I was one of those kids. I just had no clue. I mean, I probably did. It was easier to just say Sophie as a nickname. So yeah, you could call me Sophie if you like. Would I answer it is another thing. No. This is where the story comes to in France. So I'm in France. France is one of the first European countries I ever went to. And I was in a place called Biarritz. Biarritz is on the west coast. It's a surfy kind of area and full of backpacker hostels. Lots of young people go there. I was in a backpacker hostel. I was 24 years old. And again, it was just easier when people said, "What's your name?" to go Sophie. Because who's going to remember? Like when you're in a backpacker hostel, there's probably sometimes there could be 20 beds in the room. So you've got lots of people, like you're talking to the person above you, beside you, across from you. Can you remember Mutiara? No. You're just like, oh yeah, she's got a really weird name. So then when they come and see you again, they're like, oh, what's her name? Like they feel bad, and sometimes they will just ignore you and just say, oh well, I can't remember her name. I was going to say nothing. So I found that when I just gave them my name, Sophie, which is easy, I got a better kind of, people would talk easier to me, and later on they'd be, oh, hey Sophie, how you going? If I saw them at the bar, hey Sophie. So it was an easy name to remember. Like it's like, Ben and Jason and Kylie, like common names. It's, you can be like, oh, that's Kate. Where if someone's got a bit of an unusual name, it's like, oh crap, what was their name? So yeah, that's why I use Sophie. And let me drink some more tea. I just spilled some on my face, literally. I told you, this is why it's called spilling tea. So, I'm in France at a backpacker hostel, and this backpacker hostel, I can't remember what it was called. It was actually, it's a YHA actually. It was a YHA, which stands for Youth Hostel Association. And you had to be a youth to go there, right? So, I think it was like under 30 you had to be. Anyway, I was 24, right? So I'm in one of these backpacker rooms. It's one of these mixed dorms, right? Where basically you had men or male and female in the room. And yeah, so I'd made some friends there. I had kind of a group of actually guys, which is interesting. Dora, go the guys. So there was a guy called Stephen from Australia. I'm sure his name was Stephen. I don't know why I just remember that then, Stephen. We're talking 25 years ago, probably 26 years ago now, because I'm nearly 51. I've got a birthday in a couple of days, guys. So yeah, so it's 26 years ago. So anyway, there was a guy from Australia. There was a guy, Neve. He was Neve, and he was studying to be a doctor in Sweden. There was a guy called David from America. There was three of us, and then there was another guy, and I think he was American, but I don't remember his name. He wasn't really kind of in the little group we were in. So there was three guys and me, and I know we hung out. We went to I don't know, But I don't know. I was hanging out with these guys, right? Nothing at all, undue. Again, this is another one. I'm friend zoned again. I don't know why I'm friend zoned. Actually, I think I do know, and I'll tell you that story in a second. So anyway, um, we're at the beach, and we've picked up a few girls too. Like not me picking up girls, but like there's a couple of girls that have joined the group too, because these guys are obviously horny, right? They meet the girls, and they're part of our group too. I can't remember their names, right? And so we're at the beach, and some of the guys are playing volleyball. Some of the girls, we're just all lying there having a swim, swimming a sunbake. And I catch the bus back to the hostel, and I don't know if I stayed longer or I didn't go home with everyone, right? So I must have taken off by myself somewhere, and I was catching the bus back to the hostel. Anyway, I'm sitting there to myself, like looking out the window, in a daze. I love being on that bus, right? Looking out the window, it's so much fun. Anyway, someone walks past and they say, Sophie. Now, obviously, it's not my real name, right? Hey, Jazz, how you going? So obviously, Sophie's not my real name. So I'm like, looking out the window. And then the guy standing there goes, Sophie, how are you? And I'm like, oh, hi, how you going? So it was the guy that was part of the group kind of thing, but not one of the close guys in the group. And I was like, oh, hello, how you going? He's like, oh, you must have been in a bit of a daze. And I'm like, yeah, I was in a bit of a daze. Because obviously Sophie's not my real name. So that's why I didn't respond, because I use Sophie because it's easier than saying Muriara and everyone remembering Muriara. So that is why I call myself Sophie, because it's easier to remember. But the problem is, sometimes I don't remember I'm Sophie. Hey Jazz, how you going? I'm just telling you a story of spilling the tea on why I call myself Sophie when I travel. Well, this is before I called myself Dora. So this is pre 18 years ago when I got my nickname of Dora. And then from there, it's easy. It's always been Dora, right? And it's really interesting. Other times I've traveled, like I think when I was in Vietnam, in Cambodia, when you're traveling solo, you meet people at the backpacker hostels. Yourself, Jazz. You meet people in the backpacker hostels. So having a name like Jazz is easy. Like people remember Jazz. It's easy, right? So that's why I did that. But when I was in in Asia, I think I was particularly in Vietnam at this time, and oh my gosh, I've just lost my train of thought. I completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, it mustn't have been true. I was talking about my name, Jazz. Not my name, Dora. Mutiara. Oh yeah, that's why. That's why. So basically, I would exchange emails. So this is pre-social media, right? So on that first trip to Europe, I did make some friends with some, Australian people and different people, and we'd exchange emails. Unfortunately, I've lost touch with those people, right? I'd really love to be able to, to meet some of these people again. There was one particular girl, Holly. She was from Sydney, and when I came back to Australia, we were like email pen friends for a while, but I've lost contact with her. But when I was in Vietnam, this is the start of social media and basically having Facebook. I didn't exchange Facebooks back then. I can't remember. I think I was just about 30 when I went to Vietnam and Cambodia and Laos. So yeah, 20 years ago. I don't know how long ago Facebook came out. I reckon it's about that time actually. So maybe I did exchange Facebook pages, right? So there's a particular girl called Tanya that I was traveling around with. I met her at a backpacker hostel, and we exchange Facebook profiles, and we're still friends, right? But she still calls me Sophie. So I exchange profiles as Mutiara and my last name, but when she talks to me in messages and emails or messages on Facebook, she'll go, "Hey Sophie, what's going on?" or that kind of thing, because that's how she recognizes me, as Sophie. She doesn't recognize me as Mutiara, even though she does know my name is Mutiara. So yeah, it's been interesting. Sometimes, people will, yeah, it'll get me off guard sometimes when, people, call me Sophie and I'm in a daze and I'm just like, oh, what? Oh yeah. So in Indonesia, when I traveled to Indonesia, all my relatives there in Indonesia all call me Sophie. There's no Mutiara, it's always Sophie. Because as a small child, when I went to Indonesia, everyone called me Sophie. So in Indonesian, or Bahasa, Kak Sophie is Sister Sophie. So all my cousins will say, hey, Kak Sophie, apa kabar? Hello, how are you? Or Kak Sophie, Piggy, someone's like, let's go to the market. So yeah, and my aunties, my bibbies, they call them, they all call me Sophie. So it's really, so obviously when I'm in Indonesia, I always understand straight away. I know it's Sophie, it's me, right? It's just that when you travel, you're probably fixated on something else, right? Well, like I was that day, I was looking out at the bus in Beirut, going, "Wow, where am I? It's so beautiful." Jazz, have you been to Beirut? I've only been there once. Once? I've only been once. I said I'd like to go back. So, Jazz, I can't, when I'm doing the horizontal live, I can't touch the phone. And if I don't look at the message fast enough, it disappears. No, you haven't been there yet. Okay, cool. It's a pretty busy, it's really famous for surfing, I think. They have a lot of surf competitions there. How was it? Yeah, it was all right. I mean, look, I love the beach, right? But to be honest, it's not a great beach. It's not that wonderful. If I think about it now, it was one of the first places I went to in Europe when I first went to Europe. And I was like, wow, it's a European beach. I'm excited, right? But I end up eventually going to, like, the Greek islands and the Mediterranean. So I saw different kind of beaches. And then obviously Barcelona, I saw the beach in Barcelona. That's quite a nice beach. It's okay. But yeah, the Greek islands, that's beautiful. I went to Nice and I saw the pebbles on the beach, and the water in Nice was really, really nice. And yeah, so, and then I went up to Netherlands, and Netherlands didn't even, they had some beaches. I went up there, but they weren't that beautiful, right? Because again, they're more colder. So interesting, yeah. Yeah. But anyway, that's my story. Who's Sophie, why used to call myself Sophie. Like I said, I have quite a few different nicknames. So obviously Mutiara is my real name, and there's many different variations of Mutiara. Some I don't want to talk about, but I don't care, really, to be honest. But like most boys growing up would all call me Mut, obviously, because that's a vagina, right? And I'm a girl and I have a vagina. So boys are stupid, right? They always want to call me Mut. So I have a whole lot of guy friends that still call me Mut. I'm like, grow up, guys, come on. Then I have people that call me Mutti. Like my dad used to call me Mutti. One of my first bosses calls me Mutti. He still calls me Mutti. He'll send me a message going, hey, Mutti, Muti, or happy birthday, Mutti, or whatever, hey, Mutti, I ran into him somewhere. Um, and then I have the longer version of my nickname from my name is called Mugsy Lala. So my friend Mel, that I have been living with for the last 4 months, she used to call me, well, she didn't nickname me this. One of my guy friends nicknamed me Mugsy Lala. Not that it has anything to do with my real name, but he just thought, well, your name is so long, why don't I just call you Mugsy Lala? No idea where it came from. And unfortunately, this guy fell off a roof and he's now got brain damage. So he wouldn't even be able to tell me how he got the name. His name was Dale, in grade 7. He just out of the blue said, I'm going to call you Mugsy Lala. So the shorter version of that is Mugs, or Mugsy. And my friend Mel used to call me Mugsy Lala. Sometimes she calls me Mugsy Lala. Most times she calls me Mugs. So I have, like I said, many different nicknames. So Mugsy, or Mugs, is another nickname that a lot of my school friends call me. And in my work life at the Thai restaurants, I worked in Thai restaurants for about 14, 15 years to pay for, extra trips and holidays, right? I think I've always had part-time jobs. All my jobs, every time I've had a full-time job, I've always had a part-time job just to pay for extra holidays, right? Um, but in my Thai world, with my Thai friends that I used to work with, they don't even know my name is Mutiara. They all think my name is Mooks, and they spell it differently to how my other friends spell it. So it's very, very interesting. I have different spellings for different names. So all my Thai friends, when they run into me, they're like, "Hey, Moogs, how you going?" Or "Hey, Moogsy." Um, yeah, so it's very, very interesting. So it depends on who I run into. If I go to a bar or a club, somewhere in Redcliffe where there's lots of my friends, like from different worlds of life, like it could be the markets where I could run into my school friends, I could run into someone from my Thai work life, I could run into someone from my work life. They will all call me different names. Like my school friends will always call me Mugs. My Thai friends will all call me Mugs or Mugsy. I used to have friends come into the Thai restaurants and say, "Hey, is Mutiara working here tonight?" And they'd go, "We don't have a Mutiara working here." And I'd have to hear it and go, "Oh, it's me." So eventually I knew that my name was actually Mutiara. Never called, never. Even though I'd exchange, Facebook pages, they knew Mutiara. But a lot of my Thai friends, they all have nicknames too. So, like for example, my friend Cobb, I used to work with, her real name is something really long, Cobaralala, something really long. So the short version is Cobb. And my friend Jenny, her real name is Leopold, and it's got nothing to do with Jenny, but she gave herself an Aussie kind of English um, name. So a lot of my Thai friends have English first names, but when I join them on Facebook, they have like longer names. So it's really interesting. When I'm trying to find some of my Thai friends, I'm like, oh, like especially Jenny, right? I worked with Jenny for a long time, and I'd try to find Jenny, but I can't look up Jenny. I have to look up her real name, and sometimes I completely forget, and it's like it starts with L. I know that, and then I have to look it up. Or I have to look up one of my friends in common to go, what's her real name? Because sometimes when you put in, on Facebook, L, it doesn't bring up. Yeah, yeah, you got to put in more letters, right? So anyway, yeah, so it's very, very funny, like, and especially when I was originally when I was dating different guys, they know me as Mutiara, right? Because I put my name as Mutiara on the the dating profile, so to speak. And then if I went out, I dated them for a while, and they somehow were in my area, and I'd run into a friend, and then someone would say, "Hey, Mugs, what's going on?" And then like the guy would go, "Isn't your name Mutiara?" I'm like, "Oh yes, I've got a nickname." And then like it's yeah, so it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And then Dora is another, obviously, a nickname that has been with me for a long time. So yeah, anyway, that's my story. That's my spilling the tea. So Jazz, I'm going to go because I try to keep my spilling the tea like under 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But I'll talk to you on WhatsApp, matey. Bye. I'm going to now turn off the phone. So technically, I can't touch the phone. So I'm not going to touch the phone. So I'm going to be here for a little bit longer until I can pull over and turn the phone off. Because I'm going to be a good person, right? Yeah, I'm actually going to be here for a little while. I've got to pull over and turn the phone off. And I'm kind of on a middle road at the moment. But anyway, have a good afternoon or good morning, Jazz. Good morning. Buenos dias, mi amiga. So I'm just going to sit here and not talk, guys. I'm just going to drink my drink. So if you're watching this on the replay, just finish the live, finish the replay because nothing else is going to be said. Except that I'm literally driving past. It's 5:45. I'm literally driving past my dream van. like literally dream van. So Jazz, you were talking the other day about would I ever want to do full-time van life? Oh crap, yeah. There is a van driving next to me. It's called a IVAC, and it's one of those camper vans that you can go from the front seat to the back, which is great. That's the one. They're the ones I would like to get. One of those ones that are all in one. Having to like drop a caravan and then come back to it. Hello, someone that said hello. I can't really see your name. Sorry. Um, it's got an air conditioning on the top. It's actually not a huge one, so you could drive it with just a normal license, which is brilliant because I don't actually have I don't want to get a heavy rigid license or anything like that. But it looks like it's pretty luxurious. It looks really nice. It looks like it'd have a toilet in it and a shower and a bed. Yeah, you've got to have goals, right? You've got to have goals. You've got to have goals. So anyway, I don't know who else was there, but I was just doing a spilling the tea. So if you want to rewind it, you can watch it. Otherwise, I'm really just going to be talking rubbish right this minute because I'm finished the live, but I can't actually touch the phone because if I touch the phone and I get pulled over by the police, it'll cost me $1,000. So I'm sorry, it's not worth $1,000. So, and plus because it's quite visible, as in not, if I touch the phone right now here and the police was on the side there, they would actually see me do that. So again, I can't afford to pay $1,000. It's actually more than $1,000 now, Jazz. I think it's about maybe it's $1,200. $1,200 if you get caught touching your phone or if your phone is on your lap. So I have got caught once when well, maybe about 5 years. No, I don't know. Longer than that. I don't know. A long time ago now. And I touched the phone to plug in the thingamajiggy, and he was driving. The policeman was driving next to me, so he was looking into my car, and he saw me touch it. So I got pulled over. It cost me $300 and 3 points. And I believe now it's over $1,000. I know that for sure. I mean, I haven't got a bill, but they tell you about it. It's $1,200. I'm sure it is. It's going up and up and up. And I believe it's probably even more points now. So yeah, it's very, very expensive. And they also now have on the sides, like on top of the roads, they actually have mobile phone detectors. So they're called mobile. They're mobile. They're mobile. They're mobile. They're mobile because they're actually not permanent, and you can see them if you're actually like watching the road and not looking at your phone, right? You can actually see them hanging off the top of the road, and they're like cameras on each of the lanes, so they can see into your car, and they can see if it's on your lap or you're touching it, and they take photos. So that's how a lot of people get done. And yeah, again, easy money for them. Boom, 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 straight away. So gone are the days that, I remember back in the day, you're holding the phone up to my phone, while I'm driving, blah, 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 talking to someone. So it's crazy. Crazy. So Jazz, in the UK, are you allowed to touch the phone when you drive? Are you allowed to use the phone? I don't know. I think in America you are, aren't you? I think Americans are. I don't know. It might have changed now, though. I don't know. I think most places around the world are kind of getting smarter that, it's kind of dangerous to touch your phone and be on the phone while you're driving, unless you have one of those, car systems. So I'm off. I'm going to pull over in a second and turn the phone off. But I'm home early today, which is great. My client had a dentist appointment. So I'm like, oh, damn, we have to go home work. We have to get home early. Damn. I can't read it. There's a lot of mush there. Anyway, I think Jazz is saying goodbye. Anyway, guys, say goodbye because I'm really not here. I'm just rabbiting on right now. But yeah, I'm going to go home and I'm going to have my lunch because I haven't had my lunch actually. I've got a nice salad and I've got some roast chicken at home. Then I put on the roast chicken. Normally I have a can of tuna with me, but I take that when I'm at work. But since I'm going to be at home, I'm going to have some roast chicken with it. And then I'm going back to the camper van, guys. So this morning, we popped the camper in and down, and tell you it's not easy to do. It's a headache, a real headache. And because obviously the camper van had been up for like 4 months, you know, some of it was like really quite, it was hard to not break apart, but like it was quite used to being in that position. And we also had the annex out. So the annex has, because we were under a poinciana tree, all the leaves went onto the tarp or onto the annex, and the annex is white. And obviously, when leaves, you know, get old and yucky, they turn brown. So there's all this brown gunk all over the tarp. So, and then you've got to roll the tarp up and then put it back onto the side of the camper van. So I actually have to go and scrub the camper van, basically, the tarp. There's 3 sides to it. There's one really long side and then two short sides. We did actually bring a gurney over with us, you know, one of those high pressure hoses, but it broke. It didn't work. So anyway, I'm going to do it old school. I'm going to go there with a bucket and, you know, cleaner, and I literally scrub it clean. And then it's got a couple of days to dry, though it's going to rain tonight, so that's not going to help. And I believe on Friday, Diego is going to back it out of the house with Phil's help, because it's very, very tight area where the camper van goes through. It'll go through, obviously we got it in, but Diego actually reversed it into the yard and they had to go sideways. Oh, it was ridiculous. I have no idea. I hate reversing. Literally hate it. Hate it. And it's just because I'm not practiced, right? I'm not practiced. You know, you're good at things that you practice, right? And Diego's used to carrying a trailer for his carpentry work, right? So he's always backing that sideways, backways, everywhere, right? But me personally, even like just backing, like reversing with a car, it's not always easy, right? Especially if you've got to reverse around a corner or something like that. Oh my gosh, it gives me like the willies. And I think I probably need to practice it, because that way I get better at it. But you know, I'm nearly home, guys. I'll turn the phone off there. But just to add a random story here, there's a mountain range called Mount O'Reilly's, and it's a really big hiking paradise. It's basically a Disneyland for hikers, right? It's amazing. It's about 2 hours away from where I live, and the roads going up this mountain are so tiny that sometimes there's only one car can go through. So you actually have to watch ahead. If someone's already going, then you can go backward. Like then you can go, and then they have to go back, right? They've got the right, you know, someone else has got the right of way. And I stuffed up, right? I don't know, I wasn't watching or something, and then there was a car coming, so I actually had to back, and I had to back around the corner of like a mountain, basically. I had to go backward, reversing around a mountain. It was so fucking dodgy. Oh my god, I hated it. I was by myself too, and like there's a car literally in front of me. There's nowhere I can go. I have to reverse, and I kept on like reversing so close to the mountain because I was scared about falling off the mountain, right? But I got so close to the actual mountain that I was nearly going to like scratch the side of my car. So I'd have to go forward again and then go back again. I did that. And like when someone's watching you, there's so much pressure. Like literally, you can see them like looking at you. And I'm just like, oh, sorry, you know. And I'm like going forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Oh my God, it was like a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Anyway, that's my spilling the tea, guys. Thanks for being there. Hey, guys, something really interesting. I literally just drove into my car park. Drove into my house, into the driveway. We have a driveway. Normally, it's like we had grass and sand, which has been sand for the last 3 months. But now we actually have a concrete driveway. It's crazy. Crazy. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.